It's California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Brian Dahle, coming to you from Sacramento, by the way. Brian is a member of the California State Assembly, representing beautiful parts of North State. I was in your district over the weekend. My cousin got married in Nevada City. What a beautiful part of the state. Tough life for you.
I got to tell you, Brad, I represent the northeastern part of the state.
Right. 7
full counties, part of 2 others, 9 counties. I have Lake Tahoe, I have 2 volcanoes. I got rivers and streams and forested areas, and it's a beautiful part of the state.
It is truly stunning. My aunt and uncle live in Nevada City, as I mentioned. Their backyard, it's just wooded forest, hummingbirds everywhere, bears kind of coming through, river through the center of the backyard. It's God's country.
It is God's country.
At the same time, though, there are some challenges facing these areas. We know we're in a drought, we know there's some fire danger, but we also know that as a result of Prop 215, which allowed for the cultivation of medical marijuana, that some parts of your district are turning into farms for that substance, sometimes legal, sometimes not. Tell us about it.
I had the opportunity to serve on the Board of Supervisors up in Lassen County for 16 years.
Yeah.
And so locally what has happened is it's made it easier to move marijuana around, and the laws are more conducive to people who are trafficking illegally even. So we have in the rural areas, there's lots of public land, there's water, like we talked about, little streams, and they clear the forest and plant these farms illegally. A lot of it's the cartel folks and those type of people. I remember back a few years back when they actually crossed the river from my farm. They had a shootout. I mean, it was
in Lassen
County, full-on shootout. One of our deputies got hit, and ended up one of the guys ended up dying. And it's serious business. There's a lot of money, and they're diverting streams. They're using pesticides and anticoagulants like rat poison, and they're killing wildlife.
And what does that do for the area generally? I mean, if pesticides are being used across the river from your farm, and you are a farmer, could those pesticides kind of leak into your areas?
Absolutely, they can get into the water source, the watershed. They're in the watersheds. It also, we abide by the state laws that are regulate all those uses of those type of chemicals and herbicides, and they're quite frankly don't have the licenses, and they're using stuff that isn't even legal to use. On top of that, there's hikers and people who are they're encroaching more, coming closer to where the trails are and the rivers and that type of thing because of the drought. They're moving closer into where people are interfacing with them, and it's unfortunate that we have all this beautiful land out there that people recreate in, and they're damaging the resource, and there's a scarcity of you can get hurt out there.
Here's the challenge right now. As you know, the California Supreme Court ruled, I believe it was last year, that municipal governments, cities, counties, whatever it may be, as a matter of zoning, may ban medical marijuana clinics. It was a 7-0 decision. I don't believe that decision talks specifically about cultivation. One could think by extrapolation it would, but I think the law is vague and silent on this point.
There is some. Obviously, the counties have the zoning ordinances, and that's basically where the rubber meets the road on even the Prop 215 legislation. The county has the right to do land use, So here's the challenging part, Brad, is I have 9 counties. All of them have different rules for their circumstances. Some have dispensaries, some don't. In our county in Lassen, where I was on the Board of Supervisors, we used it as they had to do a CEQA, was going to have to do an exemption to the general plan because we didn't have a zoning for that type of operation.
Can you tell us more about it when we come back? It's very important because a lot of issues are percolating in your area that relate to medical marijuana. Lots of legislation kind of pending as we move forward. For our viewers on HLN, thanks for joining us. For our other viewers, we'll be right back. So what happened in Lassen then as a result of kind of a silence on this question?
Well, honestly, what happened was we had held out for a long time because at that time LA County was looking at trying to set their ordinances up. And we were waiting for some of the bigger counties because obviously the rural counties are strapped for cash. And at that time, it was easier for the folks who wanted to put dispensaries in to go to other counties who were kind of at that time maybe inviting them to come because they thought it was going to be
Humboldt.
Yes, Humboldt, Trinity.
We're
looking at it as a economic development driver. Since then, there's been a lot of issues crop up. As we've noticed, the illegal grows. So now the state's starting to take a look at it. There is a bill out there.
Yes.
Amiano's carried a couple bills which weren't successful. and now Correa has a bill.
Correa in the Senate.
So I've been monitoring that situation, and I've been taking the input from the rural counties, the county supervisors, the sheriffs, the city police, those folks who are dealing with the consequences of the Proposition 215 fallout.
What are they saying to you?
They're saying that they're all over the map. That's the hard part for me.
Nine counties.
Right, and some of them are saying, you know, I don't like Prop 215. Well, yeah, we have it. And some are saying, you know, we were better off before then. But so, and some are saying, hey, we need to do some regulations. So they're talking about putting fees into place. And that's what this legislation, I looked at the legislation, and it's actually changing daily. We're at the end of session here.
Right.
And so I believe that we do need some control, and we need to give the county some tools. But at the end of the day, the county still has the ability to do zoning. Maybe the state could come in and give a baseline so that at least we have a base for all 58 counties. And when I say that is some base regulation,
right.
Like how you can traffic it, how you can move it from, it's a medicine. How it's packaged, how it's labeled, how it's moved. I think there are some areas that we could do some good there and help the counties all be on the same base level. Then the counties can go over and above. Same as if you have a fire ordinance, the state has a baseline, and counties can choose for their area to expand that if they want.
Do you want counties to have the ability to ban the growing of marijuana?
I want to be able to give them the tools to, first of all, live under the Prop 215 law, which, you know, I really don't like ballot initiatives because not good policy always comes out of them.
Right. They're not written by the experts in the Capitol.
Right. So for me, I want to give the counties the tools that the state should give, and then make sure that the counties have the ability to regulate for their circumstances. Not every county is the same. Not all political subdivisions are the same. And that's my goal. As a county supervisor, I always look to the state to stay out of my way and just give me the tools so I can actually do it.
You may have heard, I believe it was when Governor Brown was in Mexico, he predicted that marijuana would be legalized by the voters of the state of California. And he predicted that to occur, I think, in 2016. Yeah, you heard that.
I did hear it, yes.
And he didn't say he supported that, but he said he thought it would pass. I'm not sure he's wrong.
I'm
not sure he's wrong.
So with that being said, if it is passed and legalized, then we're definitely going to have to do some legislation to put in a framework that says, hey, look, we have ABC, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Right,
and
we need to add a little M in there.
We need to do some regulation.
Right.
Look, I'm not a fan of legalizing it.
Right.
I think it's a gateway drug. And I'd like to see us, if that happens, we definitely need to step in and do some regulation on it.
And the regulation would include both the sales side and the cultivation side, because those really are two separate issues.
Yes.
I mean, you know better than I, completely separate issues. What does that look like? Does it look, I mean, help me, can a county say today, you can grow peaches here, but not almonds? Can a county do that? I don't know.
Yes, they can. They can regulate
what grows.
Not so much that, but they can regulate. So on the medical marijuana side of it, they can regulate packaging and weights and measures. I mean, there's a lot of things that they regulate already in ag that's not regulated to the medical marijuana side of it.
I'm just wondering, can they pick and choose crops? And because if it's legal, in effect, it's just another crop.
Most of the counties I represent, they have the right to farm ordinance, which means that you can farm just about whatever you want within the law. I mean, so that doesn't mean hemp you still can't grow in California, which they use for oils and rope.
Right.
So if it's legal to grow in California, as far as I'm aware, most of my counties all have the right to farm ordinance, which means you can grow whatever you can market that's legal.
So that could happen.
It could.
Oh my God. His name is Brian Dahle. He is a member of the California State Assembly representing beautiful portions of North State California. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's California Edition.